I definitely got in trouble as a kid. There was one time where I drew a picture, I believe it was second grade. It was a picture of like a werewolf or something like that. And I wanted blood on the werewolf, and I actually used some blood. But like then somehow the teacher saw it and it was like, oh man, there's actually blood on this picture. Then there was kind of like, okay, we've got to like tell people's moms and stuff. I do remember that being like a thing. And I don't know whose blood it was.
Mike Winkelmann, aka Beeple, is an internationally acclaimed digital artist who works in film, VJ loops, and mind-bending images. He has gained recognition for making a new image every single day for the last 14 years. Today, we catch up with him in his home in Charleston, South Carolina, to talk about his life, his process, and the future of digital art.
So when I was in 4th grade, my teacher told my parents that it would be sort of beneficial to me to like get a computer. And so that was one of the more formative things I think that they did. I was just like, oh man, I am super, super into this. Oh man, you can like draw on a computer. Like that was not like a gimme. That was like a cool thing. And then my dad had taught me how to program the computer. So that was a big thing. And that's, you know, partially why I ended up going to school for computer science. Out of school, I wanted to find a job doing web design just because it had a bit of the art as well as the like programming side of it. I believe I worked for that company full-time for 10 or 11 years, so it was definitely, you know, quite a while. Having a day job had a great separation between like, this is how I make money, this is my art. My art can be whatever it is because I do not need to worry about making money for that. And I feel like people don't value that enough. What ends up happening a lot of times is people will take jobs, maybe doing their art, but then those jobs are super demanding and they'll take all of their time. Whereas if you just got a day job, you know, it's not exactly what you want to do, but it pays the bills. Then I think you might actually have more time to put into the stuff that you're really like super passionate about. So while I was working at that web design job, I started doing more and more freelance stuff on the side. I had started releasing VJ clips. I had tried to do concert visuals for a while, like live myself, and I just did not like that. It was not fun. I still liked really making the clips or whatever, and so I realized if other people could use those clips, like great, that's awesome. I had probably about 50 clips at that time, and I messaged through Vimeo every single VJ person that I could see, be like, hey, here's this stuff you can use totally free, any project, no credit. I didn't have any competition with those parameters. It happened pretty quickly after putting out those clips that I really started getting a lot more paid work from them, people looking for custom concert visuals. So I'd been at the web design job about 3 years before I started making the everydays. It was just wanting to get better at drawing back then. I obviously didn't realize how long I was gonna keep doing it. So we found this stuff, some of these old prints. These are some of the like very first everydays. I have not seen this stuff in a very, very long time. So this is the very first everyday. This is a picture of my Uncle Jim. So I just cut out this part and scanned it. This was the sketchbook that I used before doing everydays. This says fuck up number 2. Every day means every fucking day. Yeah, I feel like there's always been like an underlying frustration with not being able to articulate the ideas that I have as well as I know that they could be articulated. That's always been like a driving force, and that's even a driving force now of why I, will do it today, is because I want to get better and I see a lot of areas where I could get better. I started using the name Beeple in 2003. It's a stuffed animal from the 80s. Yeah, so this is what I was sort of named after, this Beeple.
What do you like about it?
Nothing, because I'm an adult. It's like that was a decision that was made 17 years ago, and I probably would have thought about it a little more if I knew I was still gonna be named that 17 years later, but it is what it is. This was just the work I was mostly interested in back then. I was interested in stuff that was more abstract. And the other thing is, just skill-wise, I couldn't make the work that I'm doing now. Like, I physically had no idea any of the workflows of making the type of things that I do now. These more simple images were how I learned about that. Maybe like this was learning about taking and exploding a piece of geometry like that. This was learning about making a fluid sim like this and then applying a texture to it. So a lot of these were just maybe a tiny little thing that I learned about the program that day and like explored that and then built that out into like a picture. They're really just sort of like a combination of thousands of tricks at this point.
A battle is waging across the internet.
This film was just kind of talking about data privacy, hacking into systems to sort of like weaponize them. And the way the everydays were very helpful with that was building 1 or 2 little assets each day. If you just did that for a month, you'd have 30 different little robot assets that you could use to like build something. I think an important part of the everydays is just learning to iterate on ideas really quickly. I really try to figure out workflows to speed up my work and be able to like try out ideas as quick as possible. In terms of like software, obviously most of the pictures are done using Cinema 4D. The renderer has mostly been Octane, and that has been something that has like sped up the workflow a lot. Rendering with the GPU is just like a huge like game changer and just opened up so many more possibilities of different ways to light things, different ways to like set up scenes that I just wouldn't do before. Different types of materials that it was just like, oh yeah, you don't use a material like that. It would just take forever to render. Now it was just like, oh yeah, you could use that material, that's no problem. So this is another one of the everydays. It's got these people discovering this giant soldier. This one had like a model that was, I believe, from Turbo Squid. You can see you can move this guy's arms around or grab his legs and adjust those. Really feels like playing with toys. It feels like I've got this Kim Jong-un action figure and I pop the head off and I put whatever head I want on, glue that head on, and then make it do this dumb thing. It totally feels like a kid, like just playing with toys. You sound like a 2-year-old. It's with all your toys you're playing with. I don't put making these everydays up on such a pedestal that I need to be in this very pristine mindset or this very pristine environment. I mean, this table is a $30 table from Walmart that I bought like 10, 12 years ago. Like, that's pretty much it. Like, it's a table. I think it's very easy to get caught up on, you know, the pieces of equipment for art that you don't have. And instead of focusing on what you do have and what you can build from that. Not getting caught up in like, I need this beautiful space or I can't create work. It's like bullshit. You could create work. You're just using that as a fucking excuse to like not create work. I do think the table does have some sentimental value because it is like as old, roughly, as the everydays. And I do actually kind of want to get one of those standing desks, but I'm also very lazy. This room obviously was supposed to be a bedroom, but it's got the bathroom right off of it and allowed us to put the computers in the bathroom. That worked out really good, being able to keep them in a place where they could stay cool. We've got a fan in there and not be noisy. At first, my wife wasn't super on board with that, but it's like, okay, these computers are paying for this house, so it is what it is. Like, we're putting them in there. And we've got other bathrooms, so it's not like we're, you know, in a bucket out back.
We're just very different. I'm always very concerned about offending people. Mike is not.
So she never swears. That's a big difference. Like, obviously, I swear a lot. I've never heard her swear one time.
I never have. So yeah, I try to be the very G-rated version
Voice
of
of
things.
reason.
Yeah, when I can be.
She's seen some weird, gross stuff.
But then every once in a while, he'll throw in a cute little pig in a meadow or something sweet for me.
Once in a while.
Not often. When he first transitioned to working at home, I think he needed, like, I'm gonna get dressed every day and feel like I'm going to the office. And he even put shoes on. I mean, he was like fully dressed, belt, button, like really ready.
And I feel like I used to be a lot more like vigilant about keeping the kids out of the room and like, okay, when I'm working, I'm working. And then as the kids get older, it's like, okay, like life's short and the kids grow up very fast. So, I don't want to miss that stuff.
Mike has been doing his everyday project since about a year after we started dating. So I've seen it from the beginning.
With our first kid, my wife started being in labor at like 9 p.m. And so we started like watching the contractions or this or that. And so finally at 5 a.m. it was like, okay, well, we should probably go to the hospital. And so I was like, I should probably get my picture done now though, because I don't know what's gonna go on at the hospital. So I quickly did the picture before we went to the hospital, and it was just like very, very quick and super simple. It is what it is on those days. Like, nobody expects you. Nobody's like, well, that's the picture. That's all you could come up with on the day your kid was born. Nobody expects you to even do it. Like, if you do anything, it's like a friggin' plus. So I think just managing expectation levels, I strongly believe is the biggest way you can sort of stick with this. There are two pieces to the project. There's obviously the short term where each day you sit down and you make one finished piece, and that piece can completely stand on its own. But to me, the bigger project is this long-term everydays project, which is a project that I've been working on, every single day for over 12 years. And that to me was what was really cool about the gallery. This guy's like, wait, what the fuck you guys shoot? We're gonna shoot a porn in here? Is that cool? Whatever happens tonight, like, it'll be what it is. Like, I can't control what's gonna happen tonight. Entire resolution of this is like 200,000 by like 40,000 or something like that. So you can like zoom super close in and see like tiny little details on individual pictures. But then if you step like way back, it also has like a different vantage point to it.
Walking into the gallery and seeing like our life together, I'm gonna cry about it now, was really like emotional for me because like it was just a big deal to see it all in one place.
Mimi, are you guys
so great?
Yeah, doesn't it like super, super big? Who's that? Who? Uncle Scotty? What's he covered in? Mud. What flies around him? Maybe he's covered in poop.
Does it make you think of vacation mode?
I very much view it as a show for the whole family because they've put in sacrifices as well to like allow this to happen.
Catches me off guard when I go to events with Mike because at home we don't have an exciting life. Like we don't go places, we hang out with the kids. So when I go to events, it's very interesting for me to see people line up to talk to him and wait like a decent amount of time to ask him a question, and I just want to like answer for them. Like I probably know it. Let me save me some time. But to see people like taking pictures and hugging him and like, I mean, one girl cried. To see how much his dedication to his work has inspired them.
Yeah, the next day, I mean, I felt like I just like a train had like run over me. Like it was a lot to process. That show to me was sort of like a point that I'll remember in my career.
Mike had planned for many more shows like Toronto. Then 2020 hit. With in-person appearances off the table, he needed a new venue to exhibit and celebrate his art. Enter NFT. NFTs, or non-fungible tokens, are basically certificates of authenticity tied to the cryptocurrency blockchain. Since NFTs are one of a kind and can't be replicated, these digital tokens allow collectors and fans the ability to own digital assets. Since 2017, people have been purchasing NFTs to own virtual cats, digital fragrances, and tweets. However, in March of 2021, Mike Winkelmann became one of the most valuable living artists in the world, selling Every Days, the first 5,000 days, at a Christie's auction for a record $69 million.
The main sort of secret of any of this is just taking the time to sit down and just sort of like allowing those ideas to come out. I strongly believe it's a numbers game, and the more times you sit down, the better chance you're gonna come up with that idea or that thing that really resonates with you or with other people. I would like to have done these pictures until I die. Hopefully that's a long time from now, and hopefully that's a lot of pictures. You never know, but that I would say is the goal that I have right now.